Functional Neurological Disorder, or FND, affects teens in ways that look real but are often misunderstood. So today we're going to break down what FND is really and what parents need to know to support their teens. Not just super difficult word or medical jargons. This is just clear guidance. So let's go. Many parents wonder, is this neurological, psychological, or just a phase in a teenage years? FND is a brain-body miscommunication problem, not a structural or purely psychological disorder. That is so outdated. Understanding this difference is super crucial for supporting teens effectively. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, an online coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents get their lives back by teaching them the skills to be resilient against FND so that it doesn't get in the way of living their life to full potential. So this channel is all about teaching what FND is, what you as a parent and teens with FND can do to get their lives back. So this is how FND actually works in teens. FND happens when the brain senses incorrect signals to the body and then vice versa, causing muscle weakness, fainting, or abnormal movements, among all the other things with FND. Standardized tests like EEG and MRI are usually pretty normal, but the symptoms are real and you know that. But sometimes you might wonder, well, what's actually triggering this, right? Well, the triggers can be just about anything with FND because it's never one thing. It's caused by a combination of physical, emotional, and social factors. But rather than focusing on triggers and why behind FND, focusing on retraining the brain-body communication for your teen is the fastest way to recover from FND. So if that is what you want, how can we be done with FND like yesterday? Keep watching. If your child has already been diagnosed with FND, so that includes non-epileptic seizures or NES, or psychogenic non-epileptic seizures or PNES, or functional movement disorder, or functional vision, disorder, or functional paralysis, and all of these things. FND is just an umbrella term to describe all of those subtypes of FND. But if your child has been already diagnosed with FND, then stop keeping a log of episode timing, activity, emotional state, or anything related to the FND episode or FND. In my program, we call it FND Speaks because you are so focusing on the symptoms and everything related to FND, like trying to find the pattern and triggers. So that only if we find the pattern and triggers, then we can get rid of it because we just need to get rid of the triggers, right? It doesn't work that way. While this sounds like a great idea, this behavior is literally acting like a gasoline to the fire of FND. How come? Because this symptom-chasing behavior is what we call it, forces everyone, including you, to keep focusing on FND while you want to recover from it. So if you want to stay stuck and keep FND, for the rest of your life, right? Then keep chasing after these symptoms and then keep logging in like a nurse with checklists, having a binder and all of that. However, if you want to be done with it, hear me out. The more you focus on FND, the more you're putting your teen's brain and body on a high alert. And the more you continue to chase the symptoms, the more your teen will be stuck. Remember, FND is about the brain-body miscommunication. That means that their brain and body are on high alert constantly. That's why sometimes you might be struggling to understand, well, my child is having these episodes when she is just sitting on the couch, good mood, and having no problem or no stress. Well, that is because A, you're probably chasing after the trigger and the symptoms, but more importantly, your child is already on high alert with the brain and the body, whether they like it or not, or they're aware or not. And most of the time, they are not aware. And that's why it seems very random, to have the symptoms. And that's why our logical mind is, oh my gosh, then let's make sure that we have this pattern. We need to figure this out. Hardly that's the case. Why? Again, because your teen is going to be more stuck because they stay on this high alert. Whether it's just you doing it behind the closed curtain or you're doing with your teen, it doesn't matter. Do you know you can reduce FND episodes before they start? Strategy number 2, create a safe environment at home by you, parents, remaining calm. You being a strong leader behavior by showing that FND is not a problem. Your child's brain and body are okay, and they will need to practice to retrain that safety starting with you. What does that mean? So basically, FND symptoms look like it's the problem. But the real problem with FND, as I'm saying over and over again, is the miscommunication between the brain and the body. So in this fire analogy, the symptoms are the smoke or the fire alarms. It's loud, it's noisy, it's annoying, it's everywhere, like your child's FND symptoms. But those are just the fire alarms. So trying to turn off the fire alarm by figuring out why this fire alarm is not working is not the solution. You know this already. Where the fire is actually coming from, or where the actual fire is with FND, is the miscommunication between the brain and the body. So that's why symptom-chasing behavior does not work to solve the actual fire. And that means that you're creating this environment. Oh, okay, now I know what FND is. FND is actually not the enemy. FND is not the problem. We just need to retrain our brain and body so that fire alarms don't need to be there to begin with, instead of you trying to break the fire alarm one by one. Over time, your teen also learns that they have no reason to be afraid of FND because it's not their enemy. This safety loop will help your teen get unstuck and get back to the safety loop faster than you can ever imagine. I promise you. Strategy number 3, I repeat, do not do this alone. DIY project may work for some, like you're creating a barn door or something like that, but definitely not for FND. I promise you. You are playing with a dangerous fire if you don't know what you're dealing with. Seek expert guidance. I strongly recommend finding a child FND specialist who also works with their parents, like you. This is not a regular talk therapy where you as parents have absolutely no clue what's going on behind a closed door. Me, as a licensed clinical psychologist, I know what it's like. The Family Guy shares a handful of practical strategies to help you get out of this survival mode, and it shows why our structured approach gets such a strong result. Grab it from the description below. It is free. Now, this kind of talk therapy, traditional therapy, might be helpful for some situations, but definitely not for FND recovery. And again, same thing. If you're only working with a talk therapist who doesn't know anything about FND, again, playing with the dangerous fire, because they are likely to lead you to just focus on the fire alarms and then breaking those fire alarms without really working on the fire itself. So without a professional guidance for parents, same thing. You end up leading your child who is just as confused and blind with this FND. So stop trying to figure this out alone. This will only escalate the high alert brain-body miscommunication for you and your child. If you want to see how my full program of Teen FND Academy works and how it's helping families resolve FND for real, then watch the video linked in the description box below. Now that you know FND is not just psychological or not just simple anxiety or stress, not just neurological because they can't find anything, you also know that you need to know exactly what you're dealing with so you and your teen can recover from FND together as a team. For deeper strategies and daily routines to help your teen thrive beyond FND, check out my next video. It is designed for parents who want practical guidance.